justice for all.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Any persons wish to address the council on any item on today's agenda may do so at this time.
Mayor, I'm going to need just a minute or so for the machine to warm back up.
It'll take a minute before they get up to the mic.
Good afternoon, Leroy Fisher, the First District. I would like to speak on finances to begin with. Last week, we had people in here from parking enforcement. They talked about, I guess they were very proud that they had given out more than 5,000 tickets in this city, and I guess that's what you them are about, getting more money, but it's a negative impact for people. More than that, it's negative because, as they said, they were giving 64 people that they hired. They suggested that 16 of them might have been from the city of Inglewood. That was not very good. I don't like the idea of them being here, number one. I think that, they're imposing a negative on this city with regard to running around and giving tickets. I've been watching them and watching their actions, and all they seem to want to do is to give tickets, and maybe that's what you them want. But, when people are downtown shopping and trying to spend their money in the city and you them are running around giving tickets, I think that's a negative. It's a negative that the people that you brought in here are people not of this city, here simply to take money from this city by doing that. We given them the right to use the vehicles that we paid for, and we have to maintain. I think it's a very, very negative thing, and I think that this whole city continues to deteriorate by you giving out all these contracts, and I don't know what we, the people, can do to make changes, but it's a very, very negative thing. I also think that you then were talking about going over your packets and your agenda packets. I think that you need to consider them more. I was talking to some residents of the city who happen to be teachers, and was telling them that you them as a group decided to give a secretary as much as $102,000. They were appalled by that, as am I, because it seems to me that those people, teachers, work and go and get their credentials, and it takes them many, many years to even get up to $80,000, and you them just seem to give money away to this city to anyone that you choose to, including yourselves, and that's a negative. I think that you them don't do anything but, pimp this city for whatever you can get out of it for yourselves. You're not doing anything for the city. And with regard to the sheriff coming in here, $25,000, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. That's a group of people that are under investigation, and now you put upon us another $25,000 from the general fund to fund something that, again, seems to be nothing. There's a lot more that we could do.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
And especially with regard to the camera lights and where you're putting them at.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. And we don't have any secretaries that make $100,000. And we don't have any red light cameras either. Okay.
Gil Matthew, District 4. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'd like to speak, as usual, on the finances and financial condition of the city, and also item number 6. Briefly on item number 6, we talk about elevator design. Is that designed for new elevators or designed to do what? And also, I'm concerned on the amount of money you give for contingencies. Normally, it's 10%, but you've been increasing it incrementally, some 20%, some 25%. There's no reason for that kind of contract, Mr. Fields. And I'm concerned about it because all it leads to is overrides and overcharge. And I'm saying that, back to the financial condition of the city. Now, Mayor Butts, for months, we've been going back and forth on the amount of debt the city is in. And finally, you come into the same figures that I have, but at the same time, you're not understanding or lack of admitting that there's another $700,000 in what is called a trust fund that's outstanding debt. So what I did, Mr. Butts, I combined the two. And you're right about the 187 million, yes. And you're the chairman of the Oversight Commission, so you should know that that 187 million is 36 million more than the previous 6 months. See, I have a lot of respect for you, but at the same time, I'm trying to deal with issues, not personalities. And that goes for all of the council. And when I say there's no business experience, what I mean is actually in terms of understand a financial statement, understand what Mr. Fields has given you, because I'm reading the same thing. And also, I might remind you, everything that goes to Ms. Cruz is on the internet.
Okay, you know, I really have gone a long ways with you.
Don't give my time.
Wait, I've gone a long ways with you, but this is not on today's agenda. So
Okay,
try
I'm
to
talking
stick- try
about
to-
finances, but don't take my time, Mr. Butts, please.
Go ahead. I'm the chair. I'll interrupt you.
You are the chair, but-
When to let you know, you have to get back on track, okay?
Finance condition of the city, Mr. Butts. How much do we owe, and when are we going to have a financial report for the third quarter, which has been completed months ago? And how are you going to get a budget for October 1st when you don't know how much you owe? And all due respect to Mr. Butts, please, you know, you're nitpicking.
Thank you. Any other further comments?
Council members, there are several items that I obviously always have an issue with, and one of those is that we tend to, benefit people who are not necessarily part of our own structure. For instance, that we are spending money, taxpayer dollars, for cameras for other things than our own safety. That kind of annoys me. You know, I think that frequently we tend to, as a government, I should say you tend because you're the only ones who vote, to disregard the appeals of this community, the people who sit out here and pay for things, and lean only to that which is requested by those who contributed to your campaigns. And I think we see that over and over and over again, particularly on item number 5. And I think that we can, and that's the $300,000 for the forum area. And I know it's not all $300,000 for the forum. There are other areas. But I would personally like a complete accounting of how many bodies we have out every single time there's a forum event. And I would like to see how much each forum event costs, period. And then, in a separate item, how much we are reimbursed. Because I understand that you tell us that we are constantly being reimbursed, but I want to see a real number. Not a wishy-washy, but a real number. Because I think the other day I drove down Manchester and there was somebody posted all the way down to Oak Street. They were all just sitting there looking around, waiting for something to happen, which I'm glad nothing was happening. But at the same time, that was an expense, a significant expense. And we should know how much keeping those individuals out there during specific hours, whether it's overtime or not, is costing. And the cost is not just reimbursed. There is no dollar amount on a check that says reimbursed. It has numbers, real numbers. So I would hope that we get that. There's also another item on here that I think is really interesting, as, you know, getting extra help, 25,000 extra help, it's not a lot of money. But I'd like an update. How many currently vacated, not currently present, police officer positions there are that need filling compared to those who are authorized? Because all of that should come into play when we're looking at a budget that we need an extra 25,000 to authorize LA County Sheriff to come help us. I would hope that we build our own strength, that we don't have to outsource.
We'll close public comment. We'll make sure that we've opened the successor agency and the housing authority, Madam Clerk,
A quorum is present, is that
and the
housing?
finance authority. too.
Finance, thank you. A quorum is present.
Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members, council and agency members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Item 2, CSA 2, H2, and F1.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members, council agency members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Consent calendar, items 3 through 9, but I'd like to have a brief, I want to pull 9 and have a brief discussion about what the additional resources that are being allocated to the VMAs is
I move
about.
items 3 through 8.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
That's Franklin. Council members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Number 9, staff report recommending approval of an agreement with the County of Los Angeles authorizing the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to provide supplemental law enforcement services to the city.
Move 1 and 2 with that staff report.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, you know, I just wanted a brief discussion. There's some that don't understand why we would authorize $25,000 for support from another agency, and they seem to think that has something to do with sworn staffing in the department. Could you cover those issues, please?
Yes, yes, sir. Good afternoon, council and staff, citizens. First, let me make something clear. This is not for personnel costs. This proposal here is to augment assets that we would need to appropriately provide a safe environment for what we all know is a national and worldwide event that will certainly direct the eyes of the world upon us, and we want to have a wonderful day, and we will have that. The Inglewood Police Department personnel resources will be the primary resources on the ground. These funds are to secure additional assets that we will need to completely fill out our operational plan.
And without divulging, you know, the certain components of your operations plan, what I wanted to make clear, this is to bring in resources that we do not have at our disposal, that the Sheriff's Department does have, and that will maximize our opportunity to have a peaceful, safe event. Is that right?
That's correct, and we are very confident that we will bring that to the world.
Okay, thank you very much. And
Also, Mayor.
go ahead, Councilman
And also
Franklin.
following that lead, that all funding appropriated for this will be reimbursed by Madison Square Gardens.
No, this part is not true. There's a larger piece that's close to 2.5, 3 times this amount that's being reimbursed. This is our choice to provide this additional layer of security, and we do it with great purpose.
That is correct.
All right?
Mayor, I just want to add what the staff report says, if I may, please.
Okay.
All services associated with the forum events are eligible for reimbursement with prior approval from the proper forum staff. So that's consent calendar item 9, so I just want to make sure that I am consistent with the comments. And
that would-
more importantly, it's for the welfare of our community performers as well as those entering our city as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. And then really quick on the, even though we've approved it, the camera project, that covers both the parks, Seminsky, the downtown area near the MT bus facility, and the area surrounding the forum. Can you go into a little bit about how that's funded, where those funds come from? Are they general fund? Are they grant funds?
Yes, and that camera program is part of the beginning of a larger plan that we'll put together, but the funding for this particular aspect of the operation, the camera operation, is completely grant-funded, so it's zero cost to the city.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I'll move, unless there's any other comments.
No, that's already.
Oh, okay, Madam Clerk, the vote.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. 01,
Staff report recommending adoption of an ordinance number 1410 and 1411, modifying regulations for live-work units.
Move item number 1, a motion waive further reading.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Move number 2. Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Move by, I motion to waive further reading on the
Second.
next order.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Move item 4. Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin, I'm
Aye.
sorry, yeah, Franklin, and Mayor Butts.
Hit Padilla? Yeah. Okay, aye.
I
All
did.
right.
Okay.
A- A1, yeah, threw me off.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no reports from the city.
All right, CM1,
Thank you, Mayor. There's no reports from the city manager's office.
would you want to speak now, Madam?
Yes, yes, please. Well, next Thursday, August 14th, Chairman Jerome Horton and the mayor and city council, along with Assembly Member Steve Bradford, joined together to have a small business seminar. And so that will start at 8:30 in the morning, and it'll go until 2:30. And I wanted to just mention how awesome that I thought that was, that they joined together to bring this seminar for people to learn about the $400 million in tax credits, $8.5 billion in contracts, and 325,000 jobs that have been created in the state of California last year. I also wanted to talk about two kind of personal things. One, last Thursday, you know, this one's kind of emotional for me, so bear with me. Last Thursday, my staff and I, we were leaving out for the weekend, and we said goodbye to everybody. And then I got in the car, and I got around the corner, and my niece called me and told me my sister had a heart attack. My oldest sister, Patricia, the one that's my so-called twin, everyone thinks. And what actually happened was she was feeling this pain, and she was driving, and she drove herself to the hospital. And when she got there, it was like an urgent care type thing, and when she got there, they told her she was having a heart attack, and that they needed to transport her right away to another hospital. And so that happened, and by the grace of God, leading her all the way to urgent care and to get help, and then finally get the help and get to a bigger hospital where they could help her, they found that she had 98% blockage in a vessel that was going to her heart, and she survived that. So I just wanted to say it's real important how we appreciate our lives, no matter what people say and how they do, because you never know when the last day is. I mean, you never know. And on that note, I'll just share with you another friend who had a heart attack that did not make it, who was a very dear friend to me and to many of you. If you hadn't heard, Brenda March Mitchell, who was Danny Bakewell's everything. She worked with him for many, many years. probably all her life. She was an awesome woman of God. She was the president of Mothers in Action, which was an organization that helped young children, did screening, health screenings, testing for eye exams, dental. They gave them school supplies, and these were underprivileged kids that didn't really have a lot of money, but she was just, oh gosh, a thoroughbred for the youth. She came in contact with every politician that you can imagine from a local, state, and federal level. She was just an awesome woman, and her life is over now, but I'm sure, God is most pleased with her and her behavior. I never heard that woman say a negative, ugly thing about anybody. And so I would ask, Mayor, if you'd be so kind to close the meeting in memory of her. Her service will be
Friday.
this Friday, yes, at First AME Church at 11 o'clock. And thank you, that's the end of my remarks. Thank you very much.
Let's see, I don't think that, we've convened the Housing Authority, I don't think we've done H4. H4?
Okay.
Housing, Inglewood Housing.
Right, but the CT1, CS3, the monthly treasurer's report, did you want to do
I
that?
always like to save
Okay.
Wanda,
All right,
so she has her own special
you
place.
got it. Okay. Staff report recommending approval to add a special admission and pest control policies to the administrative plan.
Move approval?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Agency members, Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye.
Or Chairman Butts, I'm sorry, agency members and chairman.
We'll adjourn the Inglewood Housing Authority. And now we'll go to CT1.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2014.
Receive and file. And now, no, we didn't have anything for the treasurer, but now we're going to go to CT1.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to report that I did attend the annual Association of Public Treasurers of the United States and Canada's annual conference that was held in Utah. Fortunately, it was 100 degrees the whole time I was there, so it was quite warm, but it was a very good conference. It was a 4-day conference. And also, I'd like to also mention that I also participated in Councilman Franklin's last town hall meeting, which was well attended, and he allowed me to speak 15 minutes.
Oh, my God. Now you've done it, Ralph.
Yes, although I saw him approaching with a hook when I tried to go past the 15 minutes period. But it was well attended, and I got a chance to talk about the treasurer's report and my city treasurer's student intern program, and also got a number of sign-ups for the upcoming community financial workshop that is tentatively scheduled for August the 16th. We may have to move it up one day, but anyhow, we did get a chance to talk about that and got a number of sign-ups, so I certainly want to thank Councilman Franklin for inviting me to speak at his town hall. And now to give the treasurer's report. The treasury report, and there are copies on the outside table there that you can pick up and follow along with me for the month of May. And the funds for the city of Inglewood under management is $98,948,408. That's the total cash and investments. And for the successor agency, $98,713,438. Housing Authority, $100,625. Public Finance Authority, $13,496,731. And the total funds under management is $211,259,202. And the debt service interest earnings for the city is $25. Successor agency, $11,259. And I might mention with regards to the city of Inglewood, the bulk of the debt service is towards the city. And the interest earnings is $45,602. The Public Finance Authority, the debt service is $164. And again, the report is really comprehensive. I have nice graphs that you can take a look at where you can see the funds is divided by agency and the portfolio composition, and also the pool and cash investment. There's a page for that. And also, I give the detail of the kinds of investments that I do invest in. So it's quite comprehensive, so be sure to pick up a copy and review that. And I'd like to mention, with regards to the bills that was paid for the month of July thus far, it was $12,923,405.53. And I'd like to also just re-mention some of the things that we are going to be covering regarding the Community Financial Workshop that's going to be held in Community Room A on the first floor from 1:30 until 3:30, and is tentatively scheduled to start on the 16th of this month, which is a Saturday. We're going to be talking about reverse mortgages, pros and cons. A lot of folks don't know a lot about that, and they think that that's really a panacea of their financial situations, and it could be, but it could not be. And also, we're going to talk about insurance, term versus whole life, which is better. Homeowners insurance, kinds of coverages, and how to determine which is better. We're going to talk about the various homeowners policies, homeowners 1 through 8, and which those policies, what kind of coverages you get there. And also, we'll talk about the updating of your homeowners policies. Because I can remember some years ago when they had the big fire in Baldwin Hills, a lot of folks did not do that, and they were not able to stay. They simply had to sell those lots because they did not update their policies. We're going to talk about the kinds of auto insurance policies, which is needed, and the insurance categories. Liability, collision, comprehensive, and all of that. Then we'll talk about home refinances, first-time buyers, retirement, and also evaluating health costs, long-term care, and investments, the rule of 72, and the pros and cons of annuities, and how to avoiding scams. That concludes my remarks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Treasurer. Public comment. Any persons wishing to address the council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time.
The 16th is tentatively scheduled for the 16th.
Michael Benbow, First District. I'd like to bring some attention to some things that are going on in here in Inglewood that I think we need to just pay just a little bit more effort and attention to these problems so that we can resolve them. We've had a problem of homeless people in this city for some time. And in particular, and what I'm speaking about today, is the homeless men. It's a surprise to everybody to hear that we have as many homeless women, but that seems to take priority over the amount of homeless men that we have. We also have a problem with homeless men, and that's what I'm bringing to the attention. We have lots of programs that are built upon the basis of resolving problems with homeless women, and a lot of people get on that bandwagon and support it and that sort of thing. Many funds come up for homeless women. But what about the men? We have a ton of homeless men that everybody ignores. The VA is ignoring them. The cities are ignoring them. Everybody's ignoring them. Not just people who are just homeless because they didn't go to school and that sort of thing. I'm talking about homeless men because they're displaced, because they're not getting the jobs that the job market is now calling for, because they were sick, because they went to the service and skipped some parts of their education. And now that they're out of the service, nobody's really serving them. It's a federal problem with the VA and the president on down of not serving them, our Congress people, as well as our state people and our local people. We've got a real problem. We've got a real problem. We need to put some energy toward this. I see people every day, and they tell me, oh, well, there's a lot more women, and, a lot of men don't live as long as women, so they're not in our housing programs. Yeah, but there are a lot of men who are not in the housing programs for one reason or another. They're not qualifying. It's time for us to look to a solution for qualifying our men to these programs. In the complex I live in, it's about 15 men, and we have 90 units. And in the 15 men, half of those are married. So there are women accompanying those in those units also. But people are just ignoring the fact that these men are just going unserviced. We need somebody to take a real effort to resolve these problems. And I hope we can start right here. And in closing, I'd like to also add that I wish the mayor to adjourn the meeting in memory of Brenda Morris Mitchell. Met her some 30 years ago when I first got here, and we worked together long before she worked with the Sentinel in grassroots programs in Los Angeles, as well as any other
Thank
county
you.
here
Thank you,
in
Mr.
the
Bimbo.
LA area.
Your turn, sir.
Yeah, my name is Elijah Woodson. This is my first meeting. Retired from LA Unified after 30 years, and a lot of people that retired, they don't come to these meetings. They say it's a big joke. So I'm trying to see, is there, what's going on here? I'm on 11th Avenue. I don't know who's my councilman. But one thing is, about a week or two ago, I came for a meeting, and they said it was a closed session. I'm like, what does that mean? They just push stuff. I don't know what a closed session is. The second item, I'm on 11th Avenue. On 10th Avenue, there are seniors that have these wheelchair type things, and they say, how do they go from one block? What do you do to get the ramps on the curves? So I came to ask for that. And lastly, on this list, page 2, it talks about all services associated with forum events are eligible for reimbursement with prior approval from the proper forum staff. What does that mean? Do we already have a staff so we can be reimbursed because they got a bunch of money? So who's into that process to make sure that we get reimbursed, or is that committee has to be in place? So with that, I'll take my seat.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Burt. Long time no see.
How you doing? My councilman, George Dotson.
How you
Rest of
doing?
the councilman, the city manager. My situation has not changed. I'm still growing bell pepper, tomatoes, and greens. I'm still doing that. I'd like to get me a couple of hogs, but a guy told me I couldn't raise them in the city. But I do, Mr. Dotson, as I know that work is being done by other people out of the city, that I said, all I want is a little security job. I don't want to be no tool maker no more. I don't want to be no electrician no more. I don't want to operate no bulldozer, nor crane, no more. I was offered a position. They called me in. I fill out the papers. I passed the test. They said, we'll call you Monday, about 3 weeks ago. So I didn't argue with them because it wasn't the job I want anyway. But Hollywood Park, that job is good for 5 years, even if they mess it up 3 times. And I got 1, 2, 3 of y'all want to go up in rank. Some of you want to stay where you are, and I would do anything I could to help you if I had some money. But I'm a little broke. I know age is sitting up here and look at me. Your money's in Alabama. That's my money. But I don't know what to do with that money in Alabama, because if I take it out, my wife will take it from me. So I'm leaving it there, see. I forgot to bring you those tomatoes this afternoon because my car acted up funny today. But I would appreciate it if y'all would put a little thing in the thing when the people come and bid for these jobs that's got government money in them, that when the job start, not when the job finish, that you need to have some of the people from Inglewood working on the job. Now, I know y'all gonna look at me and say, he don't do that kind of work. Yes, I do. I sit down, watch people, tell them they can't do this and tell them they can't do that. Now, that's what I did on the last job. That was a good job, too. But can't y'all treat me as good as outside people do? Mr. Franklin, you used to be a union man. You know what I'm talking about. Elroy, it used to be pretty hard on you at times. And they tell me, Alex, that you came from somebody else's police department. So you don't know nothing about a shovel, digging a ditch and stuff, do you? Okay. I can understand that, but I need some employment. Mr. Dotson, I need some employment. City manager, I need some employment. Okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, mayors, council, staff. Aldine Sly, First District. And I've been made privy to some information, and I would like, after I tell you the information, I would like to have the city council confirm it for me, yea or nay. Have you heard of CCA? Central City Association. And they're described as a lobbying group paying off all local politicians, mayors, councilmen, etc. They lobby each local government and federal government. They eliminate the police department and then outsource, bring in people from other places, police from other places. Their essential jobs are to turn the community into a police state and turn it into a fascism to clear out people of color and the poor. I would like to know if any of you are aware of who they are. Have they operated in Inglewood? Because I kind of wonder, I see little towns and cities being turned into cities of wealth, and more wealthy people come in because the poor and the people of color lose their properties. And I keep looking at Inglewood and I keep seeing houses going up for sale, and I just wonder, I just would like to know, I'd like to have a clear answer. Do you know of this lobbying group called CCA? Thank you.
Mr. Burt?
Roy Fisher, again, the First District. The gentleman who was here talking about 11th Avenue, I would say to him and to you all that I have been asking the same question.
Ms. Sly, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I hope I get those few seconds back.
Get those couple seconds back.
You give very few of them anyway, but you know, it just it's concerning to me because I look at the different districts. The second district, Mr. Padella's district, I've watched them recently go through and put all these handicap ramps in. You know, we have a lot of seniors in the first district. You know, you're running some tire on the streets after these years, but those handicap access ramps would be much more important. He also brought to you, and I wondered myself, Councilman Franklin suggested that if the forum people, Madison Square Gardens, decide they want to pay for something, I guess they can pay for it. But it seems to me that there ought to be policies in place where they have to pay for these extra things that they're getting. And while these cameras are not part of our general fund monies, as the people were here last week talking about all the deaths in this city in particular areas, it seems to me that some of this money could be portioned out into other areas, even as to the first district, where there are so many problems at Crenshaw and Manchester there. So again, I am concerned that we are spending a lot of tax dollars. We're outsourcing a lot of money. These people don't live here. They don't bring anything here. All they say is, have mercy, come to Inglewood and grab all the money and go back to wherever your communities are. It's a shame that we are in this position. It'll take a lot of time for us to come back out and to restore Inglewood after you them and get through playing your little financial games with the city of this wonderful city that we live in, as always said. But it's just a shame that we really get nothing. The Madison Square Gardens are going to be here. They're going to make all the money in the world, and all we do is get put out by the traffic and stuff that's imposed on us. Change something.
Council members, I went back out and read number 9. I don't know what dictionary you're using, but out there the word was personnel. I've been in business, and last time I checked, the word personnel actually meant human life forms. So there are personnel, according to that document, that we will be using in addition. Now, someone said that the forum would approve. The way I read that, some of the things that were being additionally protected was our water sources. I don't think that's something that the forum has any business having a discussion item about. That is us who should be making sure our water is protected. That's us, not Madison Square Gardens, not an entity from New York, not anybody else, but the people that we elected right here, not the forum. And that is really stressful to me. But you know, as I was, because we seem to be abdicating everything to the forum, don't we? One of the things that was really distressing as I was driving around this weekend, the destruction of all the trees. Isn't that amazing? The concept of microclimates, the concept of clean air, not to mention aesthetics. Now, they haven't begun to do anything that would require the demolition of those trees quite so quickly. But I think there is one legacy that stands right now that I see, is that at one time we had a very lush and green community, and in a very short period of time, many, several, lots of, a whole lot of our trees are being cut down. Trees that have been there for 60 years, trees that have been there for much longer, providing us the oxygen that we all need. And while we occasionally talk about a green building is never going to compensate for all the green trees I just saw cut down this weekend.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. Lots of beautiful people. Now, you know, when you start talking about the forum, I think the forum has been here in Inglewood for how many years? Hey, look at it. That's in the city of Inglewood. They're part of Inglewood. But when people don't know, they need to start trying to find out some things about what the forum is representing in the city of Inglewood. I'm chairman of Park and Recreation, and I tell you, I'm proud of some of the things that the forum has done for the parks. When I first heard that the forum was that Madison Square Garden was coming to purchase the forum, I said then, that's a light top of the mountain. And what that forum is going to do for the city of Inglewood. All the proud people, the people who love Inglewood, who appreciates Inglewood. Now, the naysayers, the only way you're going to get along with them is just Everybody start working free. You don't pay nobody to pay bills and stuff like that, then they'll be happy. But city have to do what they have to do. I'm proud of the forum, and I just hope they stay here and all the rest of the development we got. I want to say this. I was in Beverly Hills the other night, and we had a survey there. Young lady must have been about 17 years old. I don't like to talk about race, but she's a white girl. I said, we're from the city of Inglewood. And she said, you mean the city that's got all of the development that's progressing in Southern California? I came back to Chili's and I asked 10 people about the city of Inglewood. You know what? They didn't know anything about it, you know. I just couldn't believe that this young lady would have that kind of knowledge. Why can't the people in Inglewood, you know, start looking into businesses and see what's going on? This young lady really surprised me. Inglewood, start reading, you know. Start supporting your people, your councilmen, your staff and stuff. We got the best. Progress is here. Let's take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Here again, I always refer to a person who disagrees as a naysayer. The more I listen to that, all I could say is every village needs an idiot. Because when you hear that kind of talk, this is what makes people not want to come to this council. We have a lot of educated people in Inglewood. They don't come here. I've talked to many of them. They are disappointed the way these meetings are conducted and disappointed with some of the speakers, particularly name calling, which I
You know, like calling
refrain
people
from.
idiots and stuff.
No, I'm responding to what was said, sir. You see, you have a tendency to interrupt me, and I don't understand that. I hope you're not intimidated. And Mr. Franklin, please, I live in your district. There's such thing as a point of order. And you should not allow a chairman to bully anybody. And the rest will be the same way. Mr. Butts, you're a nice fellow. You grew up right around the corner from me. So on balance, you're a decent human being, but please learn to listen and restrain yourself. Anyway, I was talking about finances and you interrupt me on that. The city is in a financial crisis. Now, whether you want to accept it or not, in the Darrell Heights, your school district is in receivership. Your property values are down. At Darrell Heights, your school system is in receivership. But people don't respond. People in Inglewood do not understand what's happening because there's no media here. You need an Inglewood Views, an independent paper. You see, but you don't understand where we've been and where we've gone. You don't understand it. And I've seen the city grow, but stay out of private business. The forum is going to be successful. That's the second rodeo. This council wanted to put a fish farm at the rodeo, at the forum. This same council.
This same council.
Listen, Mr. Butts, see, you can't restrain yourself. You got a problem. The same council, you were not on it, but two other members on it, and then the other members were not on it.
Okay.
But you see, you and Mr. Franklin, you chop liver. He doesn't need you to do anything. And Mr. Morales, you saw him pat him on the shoulder. I don't care who runs, I'm with you. And these other two turkeys, well, they got to dance with who brought them there.
Thank you so much. Right.
I wasn't going to speak, but my name is Stuart Bailey. I live in the 3rd District. The days of doom and gloom, we still think that Mr. Dorn is sitting up here. Yes, a lot of you still think that Dorn is here. Let it go. He's no longer here. And that old council, doom and gloom, stop it. You have to realize that this is a new day, new council, new people. And Dorn was a good man, but his time is no longer here. We have to move forward from that. The forum is a new day, thanks to the new council. Yes, we have old council too, but we also have to mix the old with the new, okay? We have to respect the views of the future and pay homage and respect to the past, okay? Now, what happened in the past, let it go. Let it lie where it is. Let's look to a better future for the city. Okay, not just with the forum, with Hollywood Park. We have an opportunity with an NFL team if we go about doing that which is right with the NFL Raiders or the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, they want to stay where they're at. That's fine. But the Raiders, they have an opportunity to come here. And if we, as an Inglewood, negotiate with the Raiders for a 20-year lease where we make money as well as they, okay? And then they're going to eventually go back to Oakland because that's what I would like to see too. But they're not satisfied with what's going on right now in Oakland. So they're looking for an out. We can be that out if we do intelligent talking and both people listen to what's going on as far as the revenue stream. Because the NFL is $1 billion industry, people. I know, I deal with it. Now, if we're very intelligent people sitting up there. Y'all are. And I know that y'all can negotiate some good deals. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to say. Let's stop the doom and gloom. Let's go forward. Thank you. And everybody, please have a beautiful week and weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Council comments, closed public comment, Councilman Franklin.
Staying positive and no name calling. That's interesting. This city's on the move, whether you're with us or not. But I will tell you, this body has been more as a cohesive team than any members or any council we've ever had. This staff has been more focused on the visions this council has come up with, and we are thinking outside the box. I clearly want to stress that the forum would not have been purchased by Madison Square Gardens had this council not authorized and approved our mayor to be our spokesperson. Clearly want to stress that the Hollywood Park project that is now broke ground on February the 6th would not have been where it is today had it not been for this council collectively moving this forward. Also, MTV Awards would not be even considering Inglewood in the past had it not been for this council identifying that we are a positive, cohesive team to identify that we're moving the city forward. So that's name calling that people want to continue to use and try to bait people to try to come after them. No, I'm not for that. I'm here to identify what is the best will of this community and moving forward, and has asked for your support as residents of the city to be part of the positive process of the city as we go forward. And speaking of positive, I want to acknowledge the Fire Explorer program. This past Saturday had a pancake breakfast at Fire Station 171, which is right outside City Hall at Regent Street. Well attended. It was great to see our young men and women as explorers actually doing different exhibits and displays of firefighter work, including using the Jaws of Life that was there. It was a great fundraising effort, and again, it's for our youth. This weekend, I'm going to be working with my colleague in District 2. Again, another community program that we're going to even go in our own personal pockets to help promote the programs for the Inglewood Unified School District. In this case, it's JROTC, right? Okay. And then the final thing I want to comment has to do with my colleagues. Thank you for your support as I went forward on behalf of the city to go to the 52nd Jamaican anniversary of independence, which was here at Holy Faith Episcopal Church in Inglewood, in which I represented us to give them the plaques of recognition for their 52nd year of their anniversary, as well as two distinguished ladies that have been instrumental on doing community outreach and continuing to stabilize this city. And so Wayne Spencer, who was one of the key persons that reached out to us, I did follow through on behalf of the city, and it was well attended and was well received. And on that note, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Padilla.
Throwing us curveballs today, Mayor, keeping us on our toes as always. All right, well, look, a couple of quick things. Councilmember Franklin alluded to it. This coming Saturday is our Discover District 2 event. It's going to be held at the True Vine Church on Centinela from 10 to 4. It's a fundraiser for the Inglewood High School JROTC program. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. We're going to do the welcoming ceremony at 11 a.m., and we're going to have classic cars there. We're going to have some entertainment. We'll have some good food and just a good vendors from within the community here in Inglewood. It's an opportunity to see all the good things that we're doing here in the city, specifically in District Number 2. That being said, also want to give you a save the date. It's out in the end of September, September 28th. We're doing our District 2 community picnic to celebrate the end of the summer and kicking off the holiday season, and that'll be at North Park from 12 to 3 p.m. Again, that's September 28th. There's a lot of good things going on in our community, and it's very disappointing when folks come up here and the only thing they can talk about is stuff that's negative. When they talk about name calling, and then in the same conversation, they do name calling. They call us turkeys. They do whatever, say these type of words. I think that's, if you're going to want to lead by example, then come up here, and I welcome all the comments. Trust me. That's how we learn. We get a sense of a pulse of what your thoughts are of how we're doing and how the community's doing, but be real about it. Don't just come up here and talk nonsense. Look, you come up here and you act like you really know what you're saying, and you say something like the Ladera Heights School District. There is no Ladera Heights School District, so get your stuff right. If you're going to come up here and try and be accusatory at us, do your homework like we have to do ours. You come up here and you say the city's in financial crisis. That's your interpretation, and I get that. But let's set the record straight. We're not. We're doing well. We have room to grow. We have, opportunities to do better. But don't get up here and say, oh, we're in a crisis. We're about to fall apart, and you know that. And so you're going to come up here and talk like you're the authority. Well, you're not. You're not. And it's disappointing when folks get up here and talk like they know it, and you don't. Can I get 1 minute, Mayor?
You have to take it from
I'm on a
Councilman
roll
Dotson
here for
now.
a second,
Go
so
ahead.
bear with me. Then you talk about, we have a new company that's doing our parking enforcement, and they're writing tickets. Well, guess what? That's what they do. They come out and they enforce parking regulations. That's what they're getting paid to do. That's what we hired them to do. And I got to tell you, I've seen them out there myself. Matter of fact, I had an opportunity the other day to thank them for being out there, for making sure that our traffic flow is moving in the right direction, that we're not having everybody stopped at lights unnecessarily, that cars that are parked illegally are being moved on, that folks that want to keep their cars parked there in violation of the meters, that they're being reminded that that's not the way you do things. And you know what? People always say, that wouldn't be, accepted if you were in another city. Well, guess what? That's also not being accepted here in Inglewood. In order for us to change, we got to change our mindset. We have to change the way we do things, our day-to-day. And so when you have a new company in here and they're professional, they're doing the right thing right, we need to be able to let them know that we appreciate it, not to come in here and think that we're trying to pimp this city. Give me a break. That's so uncalled for. You talk about nobody's doing anything right. According to some folks, no matter what, nothing's being done right. Geez, there's got to be something being done right. Can you come up here and talk about that for a change? I guess I'd be asking too much. Anyway, I just got to tell you that there's a lot of good things going on in this beautiful city of Inglewood. A lot of good things that I tell folks we're on an e-ticket ride. Sit down, buckle up, enjoy it, and we look forward to your input. We want to know what your thoughts are. We want to know how we can make this thing even better, because it's not about today, it's about the future of Inglewood. But we need to work together to make that happen. So with that, thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Councilman Dotson, Councilman Dia took all your time. I'm sorry. So would you like to say good night? All right.
I really appreciate it.
All right. Councilman Dotson.
Councilman Dia, I really appreciate you. You can go on the roll. I hate to stop you. One thing, the gentleman left 11th Avenue, I want you to come up after the meeting and get this card. You can call my office at any time. I'd be glad to sit down with you or your neighbors and discuss whatever problems you have over in that area. Speaking of 11th Avenue, I take that to the park every morning. I saw a real bad place in the street on 11th Avenue. I called Public Works, which is a great department we have in the city. I called them on, I think it was on a Monday, it was Friday, because nobody was working. Monday morning, that evening, somebody was out there putting up cones. Monday morning, they were working on that. They're working on it right now. Now that's the kind of, when you say we're not doing nothing, that's the kind of stuff we do. Other thing is, I want to give a shout out Public Works from the department head, Louis Atwell, to Harry, who works with the guys in the street. You did a fantastic job. I appreciate every time you go out for me and for my district. You're doing what we pay you to do, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. To the whole department. Councilman Franklin, I enjoyed going to your town hall meeting. I learned a lot, and it was well attended. People who attended that meeting, I'm sure they left that meeting with a greater understanding of what's going on, especially with the Treasury report. So I was glad to be there, and I'm always supportive of you and anyone else on this council. And with that, since Padilla took up all my time,
Go.
No, I'm just teasing. Thank you.
Councilman Morales.
Thank you. Just briefly, first I'd like to congratulate Councilman Padilla for his event coming up on Saturday. As I spoke to him, I won't be there. I'll be celebrating my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary. But I have to tell you, even those events that just kind of look like they're one-day events, really it takes weeks of sitting down with volunteers, talking to them, really getting to know what works. And, he's doing a great job of that. A lot was said about the negative comments. The one good thing that comes out of it is that it gives us the opportunity to show you, respond to those negative comments and say, hey, this is really the way it is. Sometimes it would be nice for folks to see what's really going on and see it as progress, because that's what it is. You know, after watching it for so many years from here, I can tell you that moving even the smallest accomplishment is difficult, let alone the forum transaction. That was an amazing job, you know, and then the mayor actually put that together with our support, of course, but he put it together in such a short period of time. That was amazing, and it almost fell apart 2 or 3 times. You know, those are things that nobody understands. It's an amazing project. A couple things that happened here, we've been asking for cameras for many years. It's always been spoken about how good they would be in certain locations. We never had the resources to do it, and here we are. We're about to put up 3 in 3 locations, which we talked about, and we somehow make it seem negative. I have to tell you, I'm extremely proud of the fact that those 3 areas, one of which is Saminsky Park, which is a pocket park, which is very difficult to police, and they've been helping me with that. And that's going to get a camera finally. Those are good things. We could point at them, we could talk about them, whatever you want, but those are good things. Second thing, the sheriff approval in regards to the extra resources for the AMA. First of all, the fact that the AMA is going to be here in Inglewood is amazing. Just the people that are going to be arriving here, not only for one day, but throughout that week, for many, many different events there. We want to put our best foot forward, you know, and that takes planning and making sure that we're going to have the type of city that we want people to see. You know, that takes time and effort, and yeah, it takes some resources, but in the long run, we're hoping to see this type of event year after year. So I have to tell you that, you know, we can flip it however you want to see it. Everything can be looked at in 2 ways, but progress and results, you can't change. So anyway, those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I wanted to address some of the comments that were made so that, you know, people that watch us on television don't leave out with misinformation, and to let Mr. Fisher know the highest classification for a secretary in the city is an executive secretary, and that is the top step of $61,000. And we have none currently funded in our budget. On the question about the curb cuts for handicapped persons on 11th Avenue, that's a citywide project that'll be ongoing for probably the next 10 years to make curb cuts at various intersections, and it's ongoing. It's something, quite frankly, that hasn't been funded in a number of years. It's been done ad hoc because the city didn't have the money. But we're putting aside money for infrastructure development year after year, and so you'll see more curb cuts start to appear. You asked a question about the committee for the reimbursement of costs for safety measures at big events. Well, what happens is you have the chief of police, some members of his staff, and they sit down with the promoters for each and every event, and they make a determination as to what resources are needed. Now, if we could ask for an infinite number of police officers, we'd do it all the time, and we'd have people pay for officers to patrol the entire city during their event, and that wouldn't be fair. And so you come to some reasonable decision between the 2 entities as when enough is enough. I'll tell you this, that I know the bill that we're charging MTV for the VMAs, with the exception of the '84 Olympics, which went on for an extended period of time, will be the largest bill anyone's paid for a single event. And the fact that the chief, in consultation with me, quite frankly, decided that we needed other resources, and those resources involve equipment that is staffed by personnel, that's why personnel is in there, will be used. You know why? Because we're not going to take any chances. This is an international showcase for our city, and we want to make sure that we have all the traffic contingencies accounted for and public safety contingencies accounted for. We'll make much more than $25,000 off this event in taxes, ancillary economic impact to eating places in the city, and so we're investing in our city, as you should want us to. On the CCA, Ms. Sly, I've never heard of them, and I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think any of my colleagues do. And to the issue of hiring traffic control people. Everyone that worked for our traffic control division that was here, they were offered jobs, and all but 2 accepted. And the fact of the matter is that every city employee does not live in the city of Inglewood. It's illegal to require people to live in a certain place, to work in a certain place. So to say that, I don't know where that comes from, because if you look around, every city of Inglewood employee does not live here. And that's just nothing that you can do. It's illegal to make it a requirement. And so why you would hold a vendor to that standard, I don't understand. I heard Mr. Matthew talk about we don't have any independent review, we don't have an outside news service. We had the LA Business Journal, as independent as they come, review the city for 6 months. And their decision was to make us a front page story on a city that's doing things right. I think that's pretty independent. The planning report, another independent business journal, they reviewed us probably 6 or 7 months ago. And they wrote much the same thing about things that they believe that were going to happen, and everything they wrote about has manifested itself. I try not to go back and forth about Mr. Matthew with the city's debt. Okay, he started off with we owed $1 billion. He dropped it to 800 million one day. Then another day, and you can look at the tape, he said 167 million. Today he says it's 187 million. Last week he said it was 800 million. He talks about the Housing Trust Fund. The Housing Trust Fund is about a $100,000 entity, and it's where we park housing funds and a certificate of deposit. It's not a debt for the city. I don't even want to do this because it's so ridiculous. I feel foolish even addressing it, but the fact of the matter is that people with economic interest look at these meetings now, and so they need to know we're not $1 billion in debt. And any debts of the redevelopment agency are debts that have to be paid off by the state because they took that tax increment, and that's just a fact. You can't change that. You can't change the fact that we've doubled the amount of money that we have in reserve from 3 years ago, and we'll increase that in our next report at the end of the year. And I think you won't be pleasantly surprised, but the residents will be pleasantly surprised at how fiscally responsible we've been. I want to say that I'll be at Discover District 2. It'll be a first of its kind event in that district, and all the council, except for Mr. Morales, who has an event to go there, will be there to support him. And then finally, I want to tell you that I've worked in 3 different cities, and this is the one for the second time. And I've never worked with such a collection of people as our city clerk, our city treasurer, all these council people that are focused on getting things done for the people, as opposed to being focused on pandering to people, the squeaky wheels, in fear of being reelected or not reelected. And that's something that I admire, because I've spent my career basing it on accomplishments, things that I've done for people. I could care less about being reelected. I would care more than to stay in office and be a failure for the people that trusted me. On the cameras, we heard for years about we need cameras in the park, and now we've invested in cameras in the park, and then we hear complaints about, oh, but you know, cameras shouldn't be there. I mean, when is it enough to say, hey, thank you for doing what we asked for? We're doing what people asked for, and we're doing it in a prudent, fiscally responsible manner. And then finally, I think we've answered all the questions. I want to close the meeting. Oh, one more thing before I close the meeting. The forum has been a community partner. They have offered tickets, limited number of tickets for the Video Music Awards show for $80 for Inglewood residents. If you go to their website, you'll see tickets listed at $300, $200, and $80, and then one for $80. Well, the one for $80, if you don't put in the promotional code for Inglewood, it'll tell you that the tickets are $224 with tax. And so we had a so-called paper editor here sent out an email and said that we lied to you. Well, no, they had to have a box that says $80 because you wouldn't have anything to click. And so he put out something that says, see, anybody can get them for $80. That's not true. So I want to applaud MSG, MTV, for respecting our residents. The same thing, there will be a limited time that only Inglewood residents can purchase tickets for the Frankie Beverly and Mays and Patti LaBelle concert. It'll be a 12-hour period on this Thursday that we will get first shot at buying tickets. That's people that are invested in our community. And now I want to close the council meeting in the name of Brenda Marsh Mitchell and Era Elise Easley, the daughter of longtime employee Michael Easley and his wife Joan. We're adjourned.